Hey y'all, time for another matinee show. And just like earlier in the week, we're doing yet another documentary. I don't know how we ended up doing more documentaries this week.
Because the documentaries looked good.
That's just what we ended up seeing.
Yeah,
so
they looked good.
This
I
one
like
was,
documentaries.
Yeah, I do too. This one was also another one that we rented off of Xbox,
Yeah.
And this is 2020. I think it just came out May 5th.
It was cheap. It was only like $2.99, $3.99. But it was worth seeing.
Yeah, it's called The House in Between.
Yeah, House in Between is kind of a haunted house taking place in, of all places, Mississippi, right outside
Florence,
Jackson.
Mississippi.
Yeah, right outside Jackson. And it was a good documentary. Kind of like a higher end version of something of kind of like Taps or something.
Yeah, it was. I was going to say it wasn't like Ghost Hunter. What's the one with Zach? Is it Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, whatever the hell it is? Okay, so it's not as cheesy as that. It's a lot, you can tell the budget's a lot higher. It looks like a lot better shot. And it's not as like over the top. That was one thing that I kind of liked about this, documentary. And we've talked about kind of paranormal shows in the past, how sometimes I can't really watch them because they're so cheesy. It's like they're wandering around this place and, did you hear that? I feel cold. Did you,
Yeah.
So it's like this one didn't have too much of that. So there's this house in Florence, Mississippi, and the weird thing is it's not an old house. The woman that lived there, Alice Jackson, she actually had it built, I believe in the early 90s.
Yeah.
So she said that weird shit started happening, like, even before the house was finished, I think.
Right. So they say it's probably the land.
Yeah, that's kind of what they were asserting. And it's interesting because she had a couple of things happen that we've had happen here.
Right.
Like the thing where with the door opening and like the deadbolt
still
being
out.
sticking out. Like we've had that happen at our house as well. But she had that happen like really early on. So this documentary is kind of about, they talk with her a lot and like all the stuff that happened there. And then they had like all these different crews come in and like film. So the bulk of it is this one two-man team, and they come in and they set up cameras all over and everything like that. And then later they get that guy. I can't remember what his damn name. It's not Zach. It's the other guy from Taps, right?
Yeah, I think he's from Taps.
I think he is too.
Yeah, the first team were locals. They're from Mississippi.
Yeah,
they're from that area, and he heard about it on the news. It was on the local news.
That's right. Yeah, so he contacted
and he was like,
her.
"Man, that's here," and he went down there and contacted her. And he did the investigation. So it's a documentary about two paranormal investigations of a house that has paranormal stuff going on in it. It seems to be some kind of mild haunting, or perhaps like mild poltergeist type case. I liked it. It was just ambiguous. They did get some stuff on video. Balls rolling.
Lights going on and off, like doors opening by themselves, stuff like that. Yeah,
and it's not to say that you couldn't fake that using thread.
Yeah, you could.
You could fake that.
To be fair.
But I believe something, just based on the woman's testimony, she was afraid to be in the house.
Yeah, she would stay in there during the day, but I don't think she sleeps there anymore.
Yeah, so something was going on there.
Yeah.
It was a good documentary.
And I like that they didn't really feel the need to over dramatize anything. Like I've seen some reviews of it, like some people who are into the paranormal like really, really liked it for that very reason, because they didn't over dramatize anything. But if you're expecting something like a fictional movie, I can see how maybe you would think it was kind of like dull, because it seems like not a lot happens.
It's just a realistic account of paranormal investigations. It's and so if you want to know what an investigation is really like and what your average kind of haunting is really like, this is kind of what you want to see. This is actually...
They don't... the only things that I wish they hadn't done, and I think that they did this on the behest of the Taps guy, was like bring a medium in. Yeah. Which...
That's standard thing that they do.
It is a standard thing, but it's
that's
just
not scientific.
Yeah, it's just so subjective, and it's like you don't know. Like the psychic always comes in and says, they didn't know anything about this house. I'm like, you can't prove that. You don't know that they didn't Google the shit before, because the woman had been on the news and everything like that. So it would be very easy to like find shit out before you went there.
What I thought was more impressive was the idea that they brought cadaver dogs.
Yeah, because there was kind of
more.
Yeah.
interesting, I think, because the cadaver dogs did seem to think that there were bodies in that area.
Or had been, like, a long time ago.
Right, and if you are followers of the show, you would know that, I've had, a poltergeist event in my life, and there was, like, another house that I was in later on that me and my friend were in after we got out of the Army that we thought there was something wrong with that house. And, I kind of forgot where I was going with that. I kind of was like going, oh, yeah, that's kind of weird. But anyway, go ahead, Jenny.
No, I was going to, were you going to say something about, were you going to say something about Mississippi and about cemeteries?
Yeah, exactly. You knew exactly what I was talking about.
I figured that's where you were going.
Yeah, if you've seen any of the other shows that I was on, my step grandfather, who was from Laurel, Mississippi, he was in the cemetery business, all right? And he owned fucking a black cemetery. And that was something that went on for a long time. Black cemeteries and fucking poor white people cemeteries. There's no telling where they are. Because what happened with that cemetery that he owned is when it went out of business, later on it just became overgrown. It was on worthless land at the time. It ended up in city hands. And probably something built over it now.
Yeah.
All right.
You only move the headstones.
Yeah, you only move the headstones.
Essentially.
Yeah. The way they kind of, the way Mississippi was, government organization and paperwork weren't really kind of like a priority. It's very plausible that, fucking a cemetery would get abandoned. And then later on, headstones would get scavenged.
Yeah.
And turned into something else. Or they were sold off by the prior owners. Or the new owner would fucking sell off the headstones and fucking salvage them, turn them and send them to a concrete company or something like that. And then trees grow over it. And then it changes hands a couple times. And then it's forgotten that place was ever a cemetery. And you could build houses on top of it. The body's probably mostly long gone because in those in lower income cemeteries of those days, they didn't do a lot of embalming. They just straight up buried them in a pine box or sometimes even just a cardboard box.
Yeah.
So within a matter of a few months, it's just a skeleton. And then, groundwater the way it is, the skeleton itself might be gone. So is it still a cemetery? I don't know. But those cadaver dogs would be able to pick up on that because it gets in the trees, it gets in the plants and shit, evidently.
Well, that's what they said on here. And it's like that. It seems pretty plausible that, like,
plausible
if there had been, like, cadavers there at one point, if it had been a cemetery and trees had subsequently grown through where the bodies were, then it's not crazy to think that dogs would still be able to, like, smell that because their sense of smell is so good.
Yeah, if you're up north or in a city area, the idea of building something on top of an old cemetery might freak you out, but I think pretty much everything in Mississippi in the South is built over somebody's dead body.
I think everything in the United States is probably built over somebody's dead body.
Yeah.
Actually, let's extend that to the whole entire world.
Yeah. Lots and lots of people have died.
Because lots of people have died in the history of the world. So I do kind of feel like, even though I do like that in this case, because she specifically said that she thought that there was something wrong with the land and not the house because she started experiencing weird things before the house was even done, was that so I do like that they brought cadaver dogs in, but that said, it's like, if I don't believe in, like, ghost haunting type stuff, but if that was the case, then you'd think everywhere would be haunted because there would be dead people everywhere.
Yeah, and the land here is much older than the United States, and it's older than what people think it is. It's just, you know what I mean? Like, my little fucking uneducated damn Mississippi-ass grandmother had a damn, when she, back in the 70s, bought a newfangled fucking invention called a metal detector. And she went into a dried-out lake bed and was just finding stuff in the bottom of it. And one of the things that she found in a dried-out lake bed was a coin, a one dense skilling. One dense skilling. The date on it was like 1630, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad has it, 1630. In Mississippi. What the fuck is a dense skilling doing in Mississippi in the 1600s?
Norsemen running around down there.
I didn't know. I guess that's Danish. Skilling.
Yeah, I guess it would be
Danish, and there's Danes in the 1600s in Mississippi. How the hell did I get there? In a lake.
Well, that's not. I mean, it could have been like traded. Somebody could have had it.
Indians maybe had it.
Yeah, possible. Like I said, there's all we don't know like what every single like transaction happened back then, and it's like could have been a fucking ship full of Danish traders and.
Well, it couldn't have been a ship because it was in a lake. It was in a dried out lake bed.
Wonder if it came from
somewhere inland.
Else, like off.
No, it was near Laurel, Mississippi.
Interesting. Wonder how that. Well, hey.
We couldn't explain. What's up, Katie? What you doing putting your butt in the fucking screen? But so, damn, and you'd be out digging in, in a Masonite corporation logging land, putting some kind of a deer stand, and find an old medicine bottle from the 1800s, mid 1800s. You're like, what the fuck's this doing out here? My dad, I do my dad's voice. Everywhere around here, something was here before. This might have been a neighborhood.
So yeah, and that's probably exactly what happened. Like where this woman built her house. Like I said, she didn't build it until like the 90s. So there's no telling what was there like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be crazy to think that there was like a bunch of dead people out there somewhere.
An old burial ground.
Like an old burial ground or something. I don't think it was necessarily somebody who got murdered or nothing like that.
No, probably just old burial ground.
But so it's interesting in the sense that it's not like super scary or anything like that, but it's interesting in the sense that at least they're just doing like a pretty standard paranormal investigation. I mean, if you like shows like A Haunting or, Paranormal State or whatever, you'd probably be really into this. It's not, they do capture like some interesting things on camera that, like I said, could have been faked, but it's, it's still a good documentary. It's still like entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it was faked.
I'm just saying it's possible that if you wanted to, you could.
I think it was probably real.
Yeah.
I think it was probably real.
So it's nothing like mind-blowing, but like it is like creepy. Like the little
doors shut, and in that one door, the way it shut, it kind of looked like the way that door shut in the
that went the door from the laundry room to the garage. We had that happen that one time too. That was another thing that I forgot to mention. Yeah,
right. Kind of looked like that. Wasn't shutting slowly, and it wasn't shutting quickly either. It was like a weird in-between way of shutting. Just weird stuff.
It reminded me too, like all the shit that she had with her lights and everything. And she had an electrician, like a bunch of electricians come in and check it out, and I guess they couldn't find anything. But it reminded me of that part in Poltergeist where they were sitting at the table with the paranormal investigators and the light went like flashed like that, and then they said, "Oh, there'll be 2 more in a couple of minutes," like that, a couple seconds, like they always come in pairs or whatever. And it kind of reminded me of that. But yeah, so it's like I said, it was only like $2.99 or $3.99 to rent this. If you're into paranormal shit or like poltergeist shit or anything like that, and you like any of those type of TV shows, then this is a pretty good. It's kind of like a slightly higher budget version of that.
Yeah, I think slightly more credible, of course.
Yeah, and not as
not as over.
You can tell that they're not trying to like make a super exciting show every time. Which I actually kind of liked about it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I can see how some people might think, oh, it's like boring because nothing happened, but
stuff did happen.
Yeah. It's just that they didn't try to build it up into something that it wasn't, which I kind of respected.
I think they were just trying to show what the case was and what had really happened.
Yeah, because this has been ongoing. I guess she's had people in and out of there for like 10 years, and she's been on the news and stuff. So I guess it's a fairly famous case, although I hadn't heard of it up until now. But, So, like I said, it's called The House in Between. It's on streaming services, just came out.
Yeah, it's worth seeing.
Yeah, it's definitely worth seeing. So if you're into paranormal stuff, so check it out.